The first thing that came to mind for me was, how are we making our statements? Actually, yesterday I was talking with someone in terms of interpersonal interactions in the office. And I was discussing how important it is the way that we end our sentences. There's a way to end a sentence with a very strong full stop or even an exclamation mark, which says, this is the way it is. I'm 100% confident that I'm correct on this. And not only that, but I'm not interested in hearing other perspectives. And even if I were wrong, I wouldn't necessarily want to be shown that I was wrong. There's a different way to speak about things that we have the same level of conviction about, but it's a way that also values other people and the individuals and recognizes that we could learn something from everyone. If God's image remains in each person, then there's something that someone could teach each of us. And so we never want to close off conversation. And so my recommendation would be, and you all will know a lot better than I will, how this can and cannot play out and the challenges of this in a political context in particular. But even in a political context, I personally find it so refreshing when I hear somebody speak about their convictions in a way where I am not at all confused about the strength of their convictions, but I also understand that they would like to learn more. They even feel that they could be corrected on some point, or they're honest about the fact that they used to think about this differently, and here's why they now think about this way, and here's why. So I would look very closely at the ends of your sentences, both audibly and in the written word, and say, is the end of my sentence phrased in such a way that somebody would say, they're inviting my response? They believe that strongly, but they actually want to talk about it not just so they can prove me wrong even further, but because they believe genuinely in their heart that there might be something that they could receive from me that would be a gift. There could be something valuable in what I have to say. I think that will actually make your arguments and your convictions more persuasive rather than less persuasive, and at the same time, it will promote the sort of reconciliation and relationships between people that we want in healthy communities and in society. So that would be my starting point. Not that we in any way soften our convictions, but we think about the way that we communicate them. And if I could just put a closing remark on this answer, think about the way that Jesus chose to communicate truth to us. If anybody could have communicated truth and canceled us, who deserved to be canceled, in the most overwhelming of ways, it was Jesus. He could have just come in power. And this is why people had such a hard time understanding him. He chose to communicate truth in the most vulnerable way he possibly could, giving people the freedom to interact with him, respecting their free will enough to allow them to interact with him in both good ways and in bad ways. So we take that as something of our model. Incarnation and atonement. Incarnation, literally putting yourself in the shoes of another, and then atonement, being willing to be vulnerable or even make a sacrifice in order to allow someone else to be part of the conversation and interact with you in a more meaningful way.